Welcome. This session is powered by Global Talent Solution, supported by leaders of all nations, Global Society for Female Entrepreneurs, Helping Hand Foundation, Explore London, Global International Alliance, Ladies of All Nation Global Foundation, RM Infinite, International Youth Society and Dream Bigger. Today's host is Dr. Jaya Sajnani, and the guests are Maha Shhadeh and Branka van der Linden. Enjoy the session.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's session with us. It is second session of the Mindful Entrepreneur Program. I myself, Dr. Jaya Sajnani, I'm an entrepreneur, author, founder, CEO of YG Travel, Explore London, Helping Hand Foundation, and co-founder, CEO of Global Talent Solution Hub. Yes, GTS is a non-profit organization with a vision to create a future where talent knows no boundaries. We believe that every individual, regardless of their background or circumstances, should have access to the quality education, training, and opportunity to excel in their chosen field. We serve as a bridge between the education system and the talent across the globe. Offer the study abroad program, cultural exchange program, student exchange program, and online speaking sessions where students and professionals can engage in the industry experts from around the world. In the fast-paced world of entrepreneurship, mental health often takes a backstep, isn't it? Yes, and it is very crucial to highlight the unique challenges faced by the entrepreneurs, people, and explore the strategy to foster the resilience and the well-beingness. Therefore, we at the GTS has dedicated this program to educate and empower those individuals with the tools and techniques not to just identify, but also to overcome the feelings of overwhelmness. So today's session is about stress management and mindfulness. Before we start today's session, let me introduce and a very warm welcome to our guest speakers with our gratitude to the supporters of this today's session, who are Professor Caroline Makaka, founder of Loani, Leaders of All Nation International, Lady Dr. Robbie Motor, founder of GSFE, Global Society for Female Entrepreneur, United States, Dr. Lenora Peterson, founder of GIA, Global International Alliances, Dr. Randy Wards, who's the founder of the Dream Bigger Institute, USA, and don't forget Lily and Harry. This pair is the founder of Speakers Are Leaders. So, little bit of logistic. Please make sure you keep yourself muted throughout the session. And if any questions unanswered, drop the messages in the comment box. And our lovely background person, Mudit, Digital Marketing Manager, he's managing the background for us, and he will be looking after any questions you drop in the comment box. So let's welcome very first. Foremost, I waited a long time for her to come and meet her virtually. So her name is Maha Shhadeh. Maha Shhadeh is a dynamic educator and advocate for the global education. She served as a Global School Alliances Ambassador and teacher at Dubai International Private School. She is also an International School Award coordinator and British Council Ambassador. Maha's passion for fostering cross-cultural understanding and enhancing the learning experience makes her driving force in the Advancing Global Education Initiative. Welcome, Maha, to the floor. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. First, I would like to thank you, Jay, for this amazing introduction. It's a great privilege, actually, to be with you today. Today's session, as you mentioned, as Jay mentioned, if you're just feeling overwhelmed, so you just have to know that you are not alone. Today, together, we are going to taking charge and feeling calmer, even when things are going to get crazy. First, just allow me to share my screen, just quickly. Oh, it's okay with my screen. Okay. Just it's okay. Can you see my PowerPoint? Yes. Okay, just to make sure, because I don't want to speak and later on notice that I'm not. So as I mentioned in this sessions, actually we are going to explore the effective techniques in order to know how to manage stress and how to cultivate mindfulness. We're going to learn practical with me and with the Branka. Actually, you're going to learn practical strategies to find balance, to enhance focus, and also to improve the overall well-being. When it comes, for example, I'm just going briefly to introduce, to have a short introduction for stress management and mindfulness. When we speak about stress, that's feeling that build up
Ma
when things get
Maha, can I
yes.
just Maha, can I just interrupt you? I think the screen is gone off. All I can see is you have started the screen sharing. Is this
Okay.
everyone?
Let me stop and share it
Yes,
again. Thank you for the
please.
note. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Share. How about now?
No, still, now we can see. Yeah.
Yes, thank you again, thank you, Jay, for the note. So I was saying that first we're going to speak about stress, that feeling that builds up when things get tough. We're going to learn why it's happened and how to deal with it in a smarter way, using something we call it all mindfulness. When we are supposed to get ready, when we know, for example, when we are going to know that we have the stress, especially employee, usually we are overwhelmed, we have a multiple tasks to do, we have a lot of deadline to meet, so sometimes we find it's very difficult to have to maintain a work life balance. So when you feel that you can't focus, when you worry, for example, you started to worry a lot about the deadline, about certain tasks, when you feel that without a reason, you feel sad, or you can get easily, when you feel that you are in your office, for example, but you can't focus, you have your device, you're spending hours, but you end up that you're not able to focus in your task. That's mean we have a stress, and we are supposed to manage our stress. Some people, for example, don't consider this idea as something, for example, something important to. They say it's just a stress, something, and I'm going to be fine. But actually, this is not something just to consider as silly thing or something that doesn't matter later on when you are going to finish, for example, your work you are going to tackle. Because actually, stress management, I consider, is a priority in order to be a successful employee, in order to be able to deal with all your tasks in a successful way. If you want to be successful, you need to know how to manage your stress, because all of us, we are living in a stressful situation, whether at work, at home, outside, inside, reading, for example, news articles, magazines, what happened here and there. So what makes us special is our ability to manage our stress. In order to consider it as a priority as any sign, for example, of sickness or illness, we need to know that stress can lead to many physiological impacts. When you're going, for example, to feel that your body is the trigger, for example, the body fight or flight response. Also, it increases your heart rate, blood pressure, and muscle tension. Sometimes you ask yourself, why all of that of happening, because you didn't just think about the stress that's really is going to lead to that. And sometimes, for example, it affects, or not sometimes, most of the time, it affects our mental well-being over time. Moreover, when it comes to stress, it affects our cognitive skills, because it impair our concentration and decision making. When we are in a stressful situation where we feel, for example, in anxiety or stressful, we are not able to take we are not going, you're not going to be able to take the correct decision. You are not going to be able to solve the problem in a good way, or to think in a critical way. You are not going to be able to be creative, or to manage, for example, your work life in a good way. Not only that, it doesn't only affect us in the physical level or the cognitive level, it's also affect to emotional level. And if we are not going to be smart enough to deal with the stress, this is going to lead to anxiety, this is going to lead to depression, and this is going to lead to emotional exhaustion. And that's sure it's going to affect not only just our situation at home, at work. It's going also to affect your situation at home, your family, your friend, your relationship with other people. It will impact your work performance, and also, as I mentioned briefly, it's going to affect the overall equality of, not to neglect such types of problem or stress or any symptom of stress. We are supposed to take a break, even though for a short time, and know to learn how to manage. In order to do that, we need to take into consideration mindfulness. We don't, some people, unfortunately, based on just my humble experience, I met many people who just, whenever I mention the word mindfulness, they say, if you please, we used to do many tasks. What you are talking about to breathe, or you are talking really, that's of the hardest situation. Or sometimes, for example, in the classroom, when I'm going to do such type of exercises with my university students or a class teacher, oh, if you please, I feel what you're doing. Usually they say what they doing. They consider, I don't know if they consider as something as if we are playing with them. They didn't take seriously. That's exactly what I usually face. They didn't take such issues seriously, even though simple, usually I say simple things can make a big difference. The time you are smiling or laughing, this is a part of mindfulness. When you are going just to laugh, that's mean I'm able to release a little bit of your stress. So here, mindfulness is very important to cultivate awareness, because it teaches us to be fully, to fully present and attentive to the current moment. We rather than just dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. Usually, we are supposed to enjoy the moment we are living now. We need to put our problem aside. We don't need to overthinking, because overthinking also can lead to stress. The second one, we need to practice. We need to practice like deep breathing and body scans. This is can actually very important to activate the nervous system, and it's going to give us induce actually a state of calm and relaxation. And the last one, it's gonna help. It's very important because it helps us observe our thoughts and feeling with a sense of detachment, allowing us to, just as if we have, I usually say we need to disconnect in order to be able to connect again. So we are going to be able, as if we just are through such types of mindfulness, we are going to have just vibes, the positive vibes, in order to be able to start again. I chose actually, since we're talking about employee, I chose actually only this technique to deal with you. It's named mindfulness-based stress reduction technique. This is very important one. It depends on the physical part, because as I mentioned, stress affects physically, emotionally, and also it's affect the intellectual or the cognitive skills. So based on this technique, actually, we need to do a body scan meditation. And this is include that we are going to do just focusing attention on different, yani we are going to listen, we are supposed to respond to every part of the body to cultivate the present moment and awareness and release physical tension. The second step of this technique is related to the breath awareness, by just the attention, bringing attention to the breath, doing such types of a practice, because this technique is very important to calm the mind and also reducing stress and anxiety. The third one related to yoga. All of us know the importance of this activity for employee, because it's just pose and stretch can help us release the muscular tightness. It's improve our flexibility, and also it's going to induce a state of stability. The last one here is going to, it's very important because it depends on our daily life routine. Yani when it comes to mindfulness, I usually say it's not a session I go with my trainer just to have a yoga. It's not just, for example, 1 hour I'm going to listen to the music. No, in order to be able to release your tension, daily life, for example, what we're facing every day, we are supposed to implement such types of steps every day. Usually, I advise my colleagues to apply to have a self-care activity every day, at least 1 hour out of 24. hours of the day, even though we are going to have piles of files to do it or to accomplish, at least we are supposed to have one daily care activity. And when it comes to daily care activity, it can be not just necessary physically, it can be anything you love. It can be, for example, as we mentioned, breathing. It can be physical activities, going outside, walking, meeting friends, writing, drawing, listening to music, read a book. Something very important, even though I'm not just so in love with food. I don't find it just my self-care activity is not, I'm not food lover. I'm actually I love nature. I find whenever I feel overwhelmed, I love nature, because whenever I connect with nature, it's healing with respect to me. Also, eating healthy food is very important. Based to many studies, sure that when you are going to have a healthy lifestyle, healthy food, this is going to reduce your stress. And I would like to add something to this technique, especially nowadays. Digital detox is very important, because when we speak about the digital world, we're living in a digital world, and even though the people, for example, we're dealing with them sometimes digitally, we don't meet our clients or etc. So it's very important to disconnect, just to be away from your phone, because sometimes it's just the phone, emails. You are going to have emails. You are going to have one, two, and three. So very important tips to reduce your stress is to do a digital detox at least 1 hour per day. I know that all of us are addicted, but at least usually I say when I go hiking, I avoid just having my phone unless I want to have a photo for the nature. I just mentioned I need to disconnect in order really to recharge, to be able to go back to my work the next day, just feeling happy, or able, for example, to start again and meet all the tensions we're doing every day. So this technique actually is very important, because it helps us to build resilience and actually to manage the demands we face it every day. I think we don't have a lot of time. I'm going to mention that I saw just focus on time. Very important mindfulness for employee. It helps them in decision making. We need to pause before reaching. We need, for example, to consider multiple perspectives before we are going to take a certain decision, because this is going to help us to make more balanced and rounded decisions that consider the need of the stakeholders actually. And the last one, we need implementing in business that can help us to make decisions that align with their value, the people we're dealing with them, and the long-term goal. One more thing before I'm going to end, very important to be gratitude. We always need to be grateful. One of the strategy and the most important one, be grateful for everything. Be grateful if you have a family, be grateful whenever you are going to feel overwhelmed, whenever you have many things to do. Usually remember that be grateful that you have a good health to have a task. Be grateful that you have at least a job, and many people, for example, they don't have. Be grateful that you have a family, you have a friend, you have a colleagues, maybe they are going to help you. And the last thoughts to end with, I would like just to end my presentation with a quote. With a quote, I love it. Mindfulness actually is not about getting rid of thoughts or emotion. Yani, it's not about putting everything away. No, it's about learning how to relate them in a different way. We need to be smart. Every day we are going to face a problem, or every second or every hour. I don't know. It depends. So we don't have to get rid of everything and say, I want to escape. No. Mindfulness, you are going to be able to do that when you are going to be smart, when you are going to have the techniques, when you are going to just help yourself to learn how to relate them in different way, how to deal with the situation in a smart way. That's what make you different from other people. And in such a way, you are going to get rid of the stress, the daily stress you are living. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow.
I'm sorry if I'm a little bit late. Thank you for giving me the chance today, and sorry for speaking quickly. But I'm just trying
Oh dear. No, Maha, this was a fantastic. I really wish we could have more time, but this is amazing.
thank you.
So just to let you know, guys, you just heard Maha Shhadeh, and we have a 288 live viewers at the moment who's watching this session.
Wow.
Maha, you have successfully empowered at least this 288 people who watched you live, and they will be watching you later on this recorded session. So if you guys haven't taken the notes, trust me, I have done it, and I'm going to share with you. I love the way Maha said it, that disconnect yourself so that you can connect back again with a new perspective, with a new view. Being an entrepreneur, it's very stressful job, very stressful lifestyle. So what Maha has shared with us is lots of symptoms. How do you know that you are going through stress? Because every day we are pulling our hair and we mentioning that, oh my God, the budget is constrained, the manpower is constrained, we cannot reach our goals, we can't do life work balance, so many things. But there are some symptoms which Maha precisely mentioned it, that understand the physiology impact, cognitive level, and the emotional level, and you will realize exactly whether are you in the stress. And if you are in the stress, she has very well shared the very nice tools. I am going to apply to my lifestyle, and you must. The best one, I loved it, is a digital detox. Oh my God, that is a very well said, Maha. I need to do as well, because with the age of the AI and the technology, all the time we are surrounded with these waves and the technology information bombarding us. We do need to do the detox for that. Breathing, healthy physical exercise, and the healthy eating. Don't forget, these are the tools which will help you to come out from the stress. And very last, and but the not least, I love the thought what Maha said. um, Mindfulness is not about ridding of these thoughts. Thoughts are our life, right? This is what we are. We cannot, without thoughts, we are a dead body. But mindfulness is about reconnecting, re-relating to that thought in the different ways, which will help us to improve and reduce our anxiety. Thank you so much, Maha Shhadeh. That was a fantastic session. Now we are going to our next speaker, who is here to share her insight. And I am so proud to invite her on her our stage is a Branka van der Linden. I hope I have pronounced your name, Branka, very well. So let me tell you about Branka. I was awaiting to hear more about Branka because she is a best-selling author. She's a facilitator. She's a country leader of the Point of View Cyprus. Yes, she's from Cyprus, don't forget. As a founder of Meaningful Synergies, she orchestrated holistic consultancy, training, and events. Branka excels in the startup mentorship and vocational training. She's a best speaker for our session for today's one, especially because she doesn't only have the connection with the mindfulness and the knowledge, but she also comes from the entrepreneur background. She's a fluent speaker in many languages: Serbian, Greek, German, Russian, and Spanish. So welcome, Branka, to our platform. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Dr. Jaya, for having me, and thank you, Maha, for this great introduction. I think that just for everybody who is watching us today, the fact that you're all here means that you or somebody you know wants to feel better, and yet now they're feeling somehow overwhelmed or exhausted. And with that, by walking the talk, I'll just take just a breather, just a one deep breath. And now you can also do it with me. Now think, how did that feel? Where in your body did you feel it? So as Jaya said, and for the ones who don't know me, my name is Branka van der Linden, and I come from a very, very strict corporate background of legal and compliance. And I can confirm that entrepreneurs are not the only ones who are dealing with stress. And I'm going to touch even deeper a little bit more today, and it's about burnout. So with that all being said, to start off and being mindful that in 1 hour presentation, in 10 minutes speech, it's like overly hyping the stress already. I will just explain that I'm a bookworm. So all the knowledge I'm sharing with you today, it's not my own. You can get back to the references. We'll share the presentation with you so you can come back to it. So with that, I invite you to not really take notes, but just be mindful. of this moment and give yourself this gift of a pause where you're just listening and absorbing and examining yourself, where you are and how you are. And sometimes when people ask me, what's mindfulness? I tell them, well, mindfulness is a way how you release your brain from mindfulness. So yes, our brain is always full of everything. And with that, I'll share my presentation. And I was expecting this to be an interactive presentation. So with that being said, I have some quizzes and some polls for you. And for that, I hope that you will be able to do it from your mobile phones or from your desktops. If not so, you will have another 2 days after the session closes to put in your results and your responses. And with that, we'll be able to display the summary after the event, if that's okay with you. So yes, Meaningful Synergies is the company I established in 2017 after having a major burnout in the corporate career. What I didn't know at that time is that entrepreneurship will bring me to a very next burnout very, very soon after. I founded the company in 2017 and I thought, now I'm free, I have the knowledge, I have the passion, I want to give this a holistic approach to the world. And one of the first things that I started doing was a huge event. Now imagine that my two main sponsors pulled out just a month before the launch. So there I was running countless hours, almost like a one-woman show, and coming back at home at 10 o'clock at night, opening the door and starting being aggravated with my child because they were hopping on the couch and not sleeping. And my first words were like, what are you doing awake? It's a school time, school day. And my son looked at me and said to me, Mom, but I didn't hug you for a week. And this was one of the things where I understood that I need to give this holistic approach to everything I do, including myself. So yes, today we do this holistic business consulting, we do training and events, but more than that, we want the people to be happy and to have success in all parts of their life. With the agenda briefly, I'll just run through it. The importance of stress management, I think that Maha already covered, as well as understanding stress. What I want to touch a little bit more upon is the reality and the culture of burnout. I mean, why do we even call it a culture of burnout? Culture is supposed to be something beautiful, something as a tradition, something we nourish. And yet culture of a burnout is a reality. I want to introduce some concepts that helped me to go away from my burnout stages and also to manage stress more effectively. One of them being wabi-sabi and about acceptance of ourselves. Another one is a mindfulness technique, RAIN. And then I want you to also to invite you to do your own personal action plan, which you can do any time of a day, year, or months when you feel stressed yourself. Now, when you look at this photo, you observe something. You can look at some details. What was the most significant that strike a chord with you? Was it a word? Was it a photo? Was it a person? And when you think about it, it's not the load that breaks us. It's the way we carry it, how they say. So with this, look at another photo. It's stressful just to look at it, right? You cannot breathe. And the importance of stress management, or a why. So for people that are feelers like me, it's all about well-being, about emotional stability. But I'm sure, having the audience people who are numbers people. So what if I tell you that according to Harvard Business Review, yearly cost in healthcare because of the burnout and stress is staggering $125 billion a year. Now that's something. Imagine how many hungry children in the world we could feed with that money. So have you ever felt overwhelmed, that it seemed like the world was crashing down on you? I'm sure if we're a little bit honest with ourselves, we all have. I can imagine and remember when I was lying awake at 3 o'clock in the morning and just racing with worries, with thoughts that I couldn't get rid of, and my body was craving rest. So if I would ask you, do you know what is the number one reason for insomnia? And insomnia is not being able to sleep regularly. Well, funnily for the answer, it's worrying about sleep. So when we start thinking like, oh my God, I cannot sleep. I looked at the clock. I tried the breathing. I tried the music. It's 5 o'clock. I need to get up in an hour. Oh my God, what am I going to do? Well, this is something that happens often. It happens to all of us. And what helped me personally is just thinking like, okay, maybe I cannot sleep, but my body is resting. It's being flat. It's being taken care of. It's being secure and safe. And this really helps to pace you down. And eventually, sometimes you do fall asleep as well. And with that in mind, we come back to the mindfulness of like really understanding how are we emotionally, physically, and mentally. And we know that this stress, it impairs memories. It affects our performance at work, like Maha rightfully said. But it's also like thinking through the thick fog. Have you ever tried to drive on a road when the fog is so thick that you can't even see the car 5 meters in front of you? Well, that's tough. And with that, here is our few interaction, the QR code. So you can scan this QR code if you're on a desktop and you're having a mobile device next to you. So digital detox starts after this session. And if you're not having a mobile phone extra and you are actually dialing in from a mobile phone, then there is here the actual URL that you can copy and you can join by this code. So what does this do? It's just measuring your feeling at the moment about what wellness is. Because when we talk anxiety, stress, burnout, mindfulness, we need to include this wellness as well. And the question is, what is wellness? Is it a state of mind? Is it a state of being? Is it a state of balance? Or is it something else? And the answer to that, and let me just see if there are any results, by the way. View results. I don't know if you can see it on the screen. State of being, some people say. Okay. So I'll just stop sharing for a second so I can see you and I can go back to my presentation. So yes, what answer is to this question in my own personal experience, that wellness is about state of action. Yes, you heard me right. Not about resting, not about mindfulness, state of action. What does that mean? We need to take conscious action. Some of the stress factors and understanding what stress is and what isn't. So as well-being is a state of action, it's opposite of the burnout, because when we talked about mindfulness, what is on the opposite side? It's the burnout. And that's the state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion for prolonged time. This is when you don't close your stress cycle. And I don't know which slide you can see of mine now, but you should be seeing a zebra.
Yes, we can see zebra.
Yes, you see a zebra. So I love this book. As I said, I'm a bookworm. I love this book from Sapolsky, Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. And I have a personal confession to make, and this is I nearly got an ulcer by trying to teach AI how to design this image, because it was spelling all kinds of things and couldn't spell ulcers or zebras correctly. So my apologies for that. But the point is that Maha already mentioned we can be in fight or flight mode, but there is also freeze and fawn. And freeze is when we feel that something is off, but we cannot take any conscious action about it. And then fawn is the people pleasers, when we just want to get along with everybody. So one of the books that I will mention lately, and I will capture that on, is about why zebras don't get ulcers. Sapolsky says, and measures biological mechanism and the social factors of how we need to manage stress. But there is also reality of burnout. And burnout, according to Nagoski's sister, brilliant ladies, Emily and Amelia, says that it's not the stress that is the problem. It's when you're being stuck in one place. And this is why we said well-being is a state of action. So when you're being stuck, you cannot have this rest period and having this stress cycle close. Instead, you get the physical symptoms, and these symptoms are something that we need to learn how to recognize so we can fight it off and we can deal with it and we can take it in consideration. So physical, starting from chronic fatigue, lack of energy, like I don't feel getting out of the bed and it's 3 p.m. I just cooked lunch. I don't feel like eating. I have such a splitting migraine. I need to be in the dark. I sneeze and cough very easily when I'm around people because that all drains me. So listen to your body when we talk about physical symptoms. One of the things that is a tip, if your eyes start tearing in the middle of the day with no reason, late at night, it's the signal that your brain sends you that your mind is full, that your mind is tired and needs rest. And then I don't know if it ever happened to you that you suddenly have a nose run out of a blue. You're not fluish, you're not cold, you're not sick, and yet your nose starts running. This happens when your brain sends you the signal that your body needs physical rest. Emotional symptoms, I'm sure we all recognize them. We don't want to go there, we don't want to touch it. But mind you that when you hear people being cynic or having sarcasm and negative look on everything, you share idea with them and say, no, it wouldn't work. Try to recognize it as a symptom of their own burnout and try to help them and understand them. It's very easy for us all to fall into the judgment mode. And then behavioral symptoms, procrastination. I'll do that tomorrow. I'll answer this email in a couple of days. I will send that SMS reply back in a month. What's going on? So withdrawing from the society, and then, God forbid, using drugs. As Maha mentioned, some people go to overeating, using food. And at certain point, it's a decreased performance that shows. On the other hand, we also have toxic productivity. And this is people like myself that are overworkers. So we are workaholics and we strive for perfectionism. And when these two combine together, not a healthy combination. So this is something that I had to work on myself to realize and then to mitigate it. And with this, I come back to the culture of burnout. And we said that it shouldn't be called a culture, and yet it exists today. So what Nagoski's sisters say is that when stress cycle is not close with the rest period, it leads to burnout. And you can see this scale. You're like vibrant and pink and energetic, and it goes darker and darker and darker until you overflow, you're overwhelmed, and you're not anymore functional person in a society. And then what are the results of the sleep, meditation, time management, mindfulness? You start being lighter and lighter and lighter until you have this white aura around you. And yes, I use the word aura because I believe in spirituality, and I think it's a part of our emotional, physical, mental state. We need to include spirituality in it as well. And it comes to my next point. You see a ball. Is this ball beautiful? Okay, we have some reactions now and some reactions yes. Well, this is a Japanese technique of kintsugi. And kintsugi is used to put back together the broken parts in a new and sustainable way. Sometimes we say when the mirror is broken, it cannot be put back together. When relationships are broken, trusted, we cannot put it back together. And yet kintsugi is teaching us that something can become stronger and more resilient when we mash it with some gold into it. And then for the people who didn't really like the ball because it was not perfectly made, I bring for you the wabi-sabi concept. And this is something else that I love. And it's by the author Beth Campton. So if somebody wants to read the book, I really recommend it to find it online. So wabi-sabi concept is all about being perfectly imperfect. We all have our flaws. Perfection is something to strive for and never to be. Otherwise, we'll be bored once we are there. And this Japanese philosophy celebrates beauty of imperfection, also of impermanence. So nothing is permanent, nothing is for sure. We always have this uncertainty in the world, and also incompleteness. We'll always feel that the part is missing. And what brings us forward and moves us forward is in life is trying to find this completing piece of puzzle. And this is where wabi-sabi concept comes. And then some practical applications of it is, first of all, decluttering. Do you have more than 10 pieces of paper on your desk that you didn't touch for the 10 days? They need to go away. Do you have 5 books on your table, like I do right now, and you're not reading more than 2 at a time? You need to go put them back on the shelf. Old clothes, old dishes, something that is broken, anything that clutters your life, including some persons sometimes, just move it away. Put it somewhere else away from your well-being environment. appreciating natural materials. So Maha says she loves nature. I love swimming, so I embrace in the water. This is what helps me. And I also like to dance it off. So dancing in the nature is also something that I do. And when we talk about natural materials, think about how much materialism we have, how much we accumulate things, and whether we can go more sustainable when it goes to the furniture, to the things that we put in our houses, in our offices, the lighting that we are using at our workplaces, and so on. And then the most important one, embracing flaws in oneself and others. So this is what Wabi Sabi concept is about. And you can look up more to it. But I want to move on to the Beth Kempton. And after that, for the radical acceptance. Radical acceptance, it's about embracing your life in the heart of Buddha, let's say. It's written by Tara Brach. It's another book that talks about techniques that we can use for our self-compassion and self-awareness to become more resilient and to manage stress better. And she talks about two concepts. One is the radical acceptance. And radical acceptance is all about acknowledging, embracing our current state, like not how we want to be. How are we really right now? What are the faults? What are the flaws? Including all thoughts, all feelings, all actions with at least as least as possible judgment. In other words, being gentle to ourselves. And another thing that she touches upon is the trance of unworthiness. Because self-confidence is a skill that you can practice, but self-worth is something that comes from within. And with that, she says that we are trapped in these cycles of self-judgment, of criticism, of shame, of inadequacy. And to balance all these things, she developed a RAIN practice. And this is something that can help you deal with your difficult emotions. So whenever you're feeling not in your balance, not in yourself, first step is always to recognize. So identify what is happening in the present moment, here and now. What is bothering me right now? And write it down for yourself. Do some journaling. And then to allow. So it's okay to feel exactly the way I feel, whatever emotion that can be. And don't try to change it for the moment. Just stay with it, dwell with it for a moment to understand the full impact on your mental, emotional, and physical health. And then to investigate. Sometimes I say in compliance, we need to explore, we need to research, and then also to be curious about it, to open new perspective. You have to have this sense of curiosity. Why are things the way they are? Why do I feel the way I do? And as a closing of RAIN, she says we need to nurture self-compassion, self-care, and to heal our wounded parts. With that, my message for today, and I think all can relate with the photo, I think I've been there sometimes, it's to not force yourself to fit in somewhere where you don't belong. In other words, go where you're celebrated and not where you're tolerated. Some of my favorite quotes. And here we are, personal action plan. What if? So please take a brief moment to list all your stressors. What are the stressors? Something you see, something you hear, something you taste, something you sense, and write down those stressors. And once you do, write the exact opposite. What are my best stress relievers? Is it walking in the nature? Is it physical activity? Is it dancing? Is it meditation? Is it yoga? Is it reaching out and talking to a friend? Is it singing in the bathroom when nobody hears me because I'm not a great singer? It doesn't matter what it is. Just write them down and keep them as a little, like a affirmation book for yourself. And then another thing that I actually heard again recently in a huge conference in US is don't create just to-do lists because they can be overwhelming and they can stress us, but create your to-do not list. And how does to-do not list look like? I do not want to do this anymore because of this and this reasons. And soon enough, it becomes somebody else's job description. And with that, here are my recommended reads. So Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers, very funny way. Sapolsky used a lot of humor to pass the message. The Wabi Sabi, something that one of my mentor recommended to me. And she said, you're kind of a Wabi Sabi person. And I had to look it up at that time to understand the full meaning of it and just like embracing our imperfections. Then The Radical Acceptance by Tara Brach, which is all about embracing your life with the heart of Buddha and this RAIN technique that is really practicable and can help. And something that empowered me through the whole last year in my leadership sessions, Daring Greatly by Brené Brown. amazing, amazing, amazing. There are so many free resources on YouTube, online. You can look at different GTS sessions that are already recorded. You can look at different TED Talks. It's purely amazing.
Wow.
And the most important, we need to learn to pick ourselves up. So for a closing and a self-check-in, have a look at all this wheel of emotions. So they're the first layer of emotions, but then they expand to something else, more and more and more. And as I said, you will have the next 2 days to give your responses in. Here is the QR code and the Mentimeter, just to understand where are you at now, so you can start applying your RAIN technique. With that, thank you very much. Let's connect on social media and let's be more mindful together.
Oh my God, this was amazing session. Both of you, Maha and Branka. I could not have missed this session. This is fantastic. One side, Maha has explained us what is stress and how there are tools we can overcome it. And oh my God, Branka, I love the technology. Wasisabi, I think I need to read this book. That looks very amazing. And it's such a nice way you put it forward, saying that, yes, something is broken. That doesn't mean you're going to throw away, but you can put it together and give them different perspective by putting the nice, the bowl you showed. And why zebra doesn't get ulcer. Let's read out more about it. Unfortunately, I did not take a note, but I feel so relaxed. And you're right. Just live in the moment. Just breathe in. And that was fantastic. Thank you so much. We have a burning questions from so many people. And if you don't mind, I'm going to go straight to the questions. We have only 12 minutes left. So very important question. Three of the questions were there. Two of them you have already answered through your presentation, Branka and Maha. One was that effective stress management techniques. And yes, I heard from both of you, fantastic. But very interesting question, which was not touched yet. That question is, in the age of where technology often contributes to the stress, yeah, right? The way Maha has mentioned it, that digital detox. It's easier said than done, because me being an entrepreneur, I understand every single minute of the work-life balance, and you have a social life to do, so many things to do in this digital era where everything is bombarding you with information. So the question is, how can we use this technology or this AI era to support mindfulness practices? Do you have any tools for us to do that? Who wants to go first? Yes,
I
Maha,
can.
please. Yes.
Actually, we have many applications. We have many applications. If you want, for example, just to use the technology. So as you mentioned, we can use it in a positive. We take the positive sides of technology. So we can upload the AI tool. Just write on Google AI tool for mindfulness practice. You are going to upload the application on the phone, and you are going to have just a program for a month. Every day they are going to give you just a program or a plan for every day what you are supposed to do. Not only that, they are going to remind you that today you are supposed to do 1, 2, and 3. You can put an alarm, for example. You can do 1, 2, 3, and 4. For the people who are interested, for example, in physical activities, also we have many wonderful AI tool, and most of them can be free. Also, they can put a physical program for physical exercise, so they can practice doing that. So in such a way, they are using the phone, they are using the AI and the technology, but at the same time, they are going to use it in a positive way, because they have a reminder every minute or second in their phone about the program.
Wow, that's so true. I mean, how can we convert the technology to which can help us? Branka, anything from your side?
Yeah, I have a little slightly different approach. It's not about some AI telling me what I need to do and following the rules, because that doesn't stick well all the time. But I use a mood tracker app. So what mood tracker does, it just counts your emotional state throughout the day. So it understands your emotional patterns, your circle, your sleep style, and then you can reflect back on it and see yourself realize what you need to change. And another app that I'm using that's very, very helpful, it's free of charge, it's on Viber, so anybody can access it. It's called Happiness Tips. And those are just little mantras, little questions, little tricks of the days, like random act of kindness, or be unique self, or when facing setbacks, how this situation helps you trying to expand. So it's really motivational, and it's very easy to go to it when you want. So no reminder every second, every minute. But if I could share one that is the best piece of technology that helps, this is the flight mode. Flight mode on the phone. You heard me right. Yes, for an hour a day or even a day a week, just to really do this digital detox.
Oh my God, that was fantastic. I was wondering, what is this flight mode app? But yes, I agree. And it's the same, you iterate what Maha has mentioned, that 1 hour digital detox. So no wonder how beautiful, amazing technology you have. You do need to disconnect it. And that's very, very wonderful way of putting forward.
Because when it
yes.
comes, because when it comes to technology, it's a type of addiction. That's why I recommend sometimes, if you want to start it just to get rid of technology, we can't ask people just to be away 100%, but because it's not going to, it's not going to be the solution for them. So that's why we suggest sometimes that do even though they are going to use the phones for the application, but it's a way, because when they are going to practice this activity, they started actually using the application on the phone, but later on, after a short period of time, they are going to discover the beauty of such activity. They are going to use it without the phone. So you can consider the application as just a trick, for example, in order to trap them to do, for example, physical activities, or to do, for example, any type of self-care activity. But whenever they are going to test, or to, for example, to have the feeling, to know what is the importance of doing 1, 2, and 3, they are going just to alone to say, no more for technology, or we are going to use technology, but for a short time.
And I completely agree with you. I do listen quite often, Sadhguru, and who always says that any habit, if you want to change it, adapt it for 21 days, constantly with the discipline. If you do that activity for 21 days on time, that on 22nd day, you don't need a reminder. Your body, your biological memory will remember and push you to do that. That's a fantastic way to put it forward. So we have one more question for you. So the question is, how can mindfulness practices help in improving focus, productivity, and resilience in the workplace? Who wants to go first? Branka?
I can share from my corporate background what we had, and this is like when HR is preparing a training, and we were, mind you, very heavily technical oriented training, administration, compliance, anti-money laundering, anti-corruption, anti-fraud. So this is very all rigid and dry. And what company did, they implemented some trainings that are actually about well-being, about social skills, about soft skills, or essential skills, how we call them, and also about like just this stress relief, some social gatherings and actions that are not just work related. So yes, workplace, we spend a lot of hours there every day, and it's not a family, it should not be a family, but yet it needs to feel comfortable and needs to be welcoming and not having sanctions when you're expressing your mind. So another thing that can help is for the companies to introduce this 1 day off a year, no questions asked. When somebody comes as an employee and tell you, I really need a day off. I'm not well, I'm not in my good sense, I need a day off. With no questions asked and no consequences. This is very important, because that 1 day can make a huge change in someone's life.
Wow, Branka, that's amazing. But as a business person, as an entrepreneur, if any of my staffs ask me like this, the first thing comes in, who's going to look after your work then? If you're not coming to the workplace, right? It's going to be difficult.
$125 billion a year on healthcare because of stress and burnout.
I agree with you. Yes, Maha, what would you like to add on it?
I just want to ask you to repeat the question because due to the bad connection, I wasn't able to hear the first
That's
part. So
fine.
really sorry
So the question,
about.
okay, the question is, how can mindfulness practices help in improving focus, productivity, and resilience in the workplace?
Okay, when it comes to mindfulness, actually, as you mentioned, it's going to increase the productivity because when you are going to be happy, usually I say happy people are productive and creative. When you are not going to be happy, you can't be creative. You can't be creative at all. You are not going to be productive because stress, as I mentioned early, is going to impair our ability of thinking in a critical way. It's going to impair our ability to solve the problem or to manage a certain task. So that's very important to do such type of mindfulness, especially in workplace, because this is going. If you want to speak about the business and investment, actually, I usually mention that the owner of the companies, when they are going to do, for example, such type of practices, mindfulness, or when they are going to take, they consider the mental health of the staff into consideration. With respect to me, it's an investment because when the employee are going to be happy, they are going to be productive. They are going, for example, to do many tasks in less time. That's why we usually prepare or we usually deliver many courses just in order to know, to put strategies how to enhance the mental health of the staff, whether they are going to be everywhere, whether they are going to be at schools, hospitals, everywhere. Happy people are usually creative and productive people. Sad people, they worry. They just worry because if you are worrying about something, you can't focus. You can't end a task. You can't be productive. Compare yourself when you are happy and when you worry. When you can't, for example, just look up up and down. You need, for example, 100. You need, for example, 10 hours to finish just for example a certain task. But when you are happy, when you're just feeling that you are comfortable, relaxed, you are appreciated, for example, appreciated at your work place, so you feel that you want to give more. You are going, for example, to spend more hour without feeling. But entrepreneurs usually who just anxious, stressful, they look at the hour. It's a 3. I need to leave.
Yeah.
It's 3, 1 minute. I can't stay more. So
I fully 100% agree, and this is fantastic session. We are just about to finish our session. It's just 2 minutes to go. We have one more question, but unfortunately we don't have a time. I'll drop a line to all the people who have raised these questions and we will come back to them with the answer. So without further ado, I would like to thank you, Maha and Branka, for coming over here and delivering this insightful session about the stress management and entrepreneurship, mindfulness. That's amazing. For me, definitely, I can tell you from my heart, I have learned a lot from you guys today. There are tools, techniques, you have practical tools you have shared, and trust me, from today onwards, not tomorrow, today onwards, my digital detox starts. 1 hour away from technology, whichever technology it is, no technology, that's it. And I will start today because I do take care of my health, and end of the day, if my cup is not full, how am I going to serve others? And that's fantastic. So don't forget to attend our next session, which is a building resilience, on Thursday, 6th of June, next week, same time, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. UK time. And until that, everyone, please take care of themselves and have a lovely restful week. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to catch our next session live on 6th of June 2024.